At just 20 years old, Alexander of Macedon rose to the throne of a small but powerful Greek kingdom. History would soon know him as Alexander the Great. Beginning in 336 BCE, Alexander united the often divided Greek city-states under his leadership through the Corinthian League, turning Greece into a single fighting force. With this alliance secured, he launched one of the most ambitious military campaigns the world had ever seen. In a matter of years, Alexander shattered the Persian Empire, claiming the titles of King of Persia, Babylon, and Asia. His armies marched across modern-day Greece, Turkey, Egypt, the Middle East, and deep into Central Asia, founding Macedonian cities that spread Greek culture far beyond its homeland. By his early 30s, Alexander ruled an empire stretching across 3 continents. He even began planning future campaigns toward Carthage and Rome, aiming to push his empire westward. But history had other plans. In 323 BCE, while in Babylon, modern-day Iraq, Alexander fell ill with a sudden fever. At just 32 years old, the man who had conquered most of the known world was dead. Alexander the Great, also known as Alexander III of Macedon, was born in 356 BCE in the ancient city of Pella, the capital of the powerful kingdom of Macedon. Located in what is now northern Greece, Pella was the heart of Macedonian political and military power. Alexander was born into royalty. His father was King Philip II of Macedon, a brilliant military commander who transformed Macedon into a dominant force in the Greek world. His mother, Queen Olympia, was the daughter of King Neoptolemus and was known for her strong personality, ambition, and deep influence over her son. Alexander and his sister were raised within the royal court of Pella, surrounded by power, politics, and ambition. But despite his royal status, Alexander's childhood was far from stable. King Philip II was rarely present. Much of his time was spent on military campaigns or entangled in extramarital relationships. As a result, young Alexander hardly saw his father growing up. While Philip was absent, Olympia became the dominant figure in Alexander's life. She served as both protector and mentor, instilling in him a sense of destiny and greatness. Yet, Philip's absence left a lasting mark. Alexander grew to resent his father's distance and behavior, emotions that would later shape his ambition, identity, and drive for glory. Alexander the Great's path to conquest began long before the battlefield. It began in the classroom. His earliest education was overseen by Leonidas of Epirus, a strict relative chosen by King Philip II himself. Leonidas trained the young prince in mathematics, horsemanship, and archery, believing discipline was the foundation of greatness. But Alexander was no easy student. Headstrong and defiant, he often clashed with his stern tutor, refusing to be molded by rigid authority. Recognizing his son's restless nature, Philip soon brought in a different kind of teacher, Lysimachus. Unlike Leonidas, Lysimachus understood that Alexander's mind thrived on imagination. He used storytelling and role-playing to teach his lessons, encouraging the boy to see himself as a hero of legend. Alexander was especially drawn to one figure above all others, Achilles, the legendary warrior of Homer's Iliad. Even as a child, Alexander dreamed not just of ruling, but of glory. In 343 BCE, Philip made the most important educational decision of Alexander's life. He hired Aristotle, one of the greatest philosophers in history, to tutor the prince at the Temple of the Nymphs in Mysa. For the next 3 years, Alexander studied alongside a small circle of noble companions. Under Aristotle's guidance, he learned philosophy, science, politics, poetry, and drama, disciplines that would later shape his vision of empire. Aristotle quickly recognized the power of Homer's influence on his student. To fuel Alexander's ambition, he prepared a special abridged edition of the Iliad, a version Alexander would carry with him on campaign for the rest of his life. To Alexander, Achilles was not just a hero of myth, he was a model for destiny. By the time his formal education ended, Alexander was no longer just a prince in training. He was a warrior in the making, armed not only with weapons, but with ideas and a burning desire for immortal glory. While still a teenager, Alexander marched into battle for the first time. In 339 BCE, he fought the Thracian tribes, gaining real battlefield experience. Just a year later, at Corinthia, he led the elite companion cavalry, helping his father crush Athens and Thebes, proving Alexander was already a commander, not just a prince. After uniting Greece, King Philip II shattered his own household. He married Cleopatra Eurydice and cast out Alexander's mother, Olympia. Fearing for his future, Alexander fled Macedonia with her into exile. His bond with his father fractured beyond repair. In 336 BCE, Alexander's sister married the Meletian king, also named Alexander. During the celebration that followed, tragedy struck. King Philip II was assassinated by Pausanias, a Macedonian noble and one of his own bodyguards. Macedonia was suddenly without a king and surrounded by rivals eager to exploit the Greek city-states rebelled, celebrating Philip's death. Alexander answered with speed and power, marching south, forcing Thessaly and the Corinthian League to accept him as leader. Before turning to Persia, he crushed the Thracians once more, securing Macedonia's borders. Just as Alexander was wrapping up his northern campaign, shocking news reached him. Thebes had rebelled. The powerful Greek city-state had expelled the Macedonian troops stationed within its walls. For Alexander, this wasn't just defiance, it was a dangerous signal. If Thebes could rise up, others might follow. Alexander didn't hesitate. With ruthless speed, he marched south across Greece, commanding an army of 30,000 infantry and 3,000 cavalry, moving faster than anyone thought possible. At the same time, his trusted general Parmenion was already advancing toward Asia Minor, preparing the next phase of Macedonian expansion. Thebes never saw it coming. Alexander arrived so swiftly that the city had no time to rally allies. In just 3 days, he made his decision, and history would never forget it. Alexander ordered the destruction of Thebes. The city was crushed, its population slaughtered or enslaved. The message was clear: rebellion would be answered with annihilation. And it worked. Terrified by the fate of Thebes, the remaining Greek city-states fell in line. Athens and others either pledged loyalty to Macedon or chose silence over resistance. Alexander had secured Greece, not through diplomacy, but through fear. And with the homeland subdued, he was now free to turn east toward empire. In 334 BCE, Alexander launched his legendary Asiatic campaign, crossing into Asia and arriving at Troy in the spring. It was more than a landing. It was a declaration of war against the Persian Empire. Soon after, Alexander confronted the army of King Darius III at the Granicus River. Despite the odds, the Macedonian forces struck hard and fast, crushing the Persians in their first major encounter. By autumn, Alexander pushed along the southern coast of Asia Minor, reaching Gordium, where his army paused to rest and prepare for what was coming next. The following summer, in 333 BCE, Alexander and Darius met again, this time at the Battle of Issus. Though heavily outnumbered, Alexander used brilliant battlefield formations and precise timing to overwhelm the Persian forces. The victory was decisive. Darius fled, abandoning his army and his throne. By November of 333 BCE, with Persia in chaos and its king on the run, Alexander proclaimed himself king of Persia, marking a turning point in ancient history.